Konnichiwa.
Howdy, y'all.
I'm Leslie.
I'm Laurie.
And welcome to Sumo Kaboom.
Sumo Kaboom.
Where we talk about all things sumo.
That is right. It's 2025. We are back.
I cannot believe.
I can't either. But here we are still talking about sumo.
I know. And
we started in 2020. And
I know.
here we are.
We took like 2 or 3 weeks off. 3? Or was it 2?
Just long enough so that this feels weird.
It definitely feels like we're just starting over. But we had terrible cases. Not me, luckily, knock on wood. But we've been under COVID. We got destroyed. Our family just destroyed by COVID. So we've been in a weird vortex of sickness.
But that means we are starting 2025
healthy.
Peak immunity.
That's right.
For COVID.
That's right.
So excited. I'm so excited to see big, healthy men do sumo. I cannot tell you. I am so excited. So we are going to be talking a little bit about the news pre-Basho. We're going to tell you a little bit of research about Tamashoho, who is our newest guy right at the bottom of the pack. We're going to tell you about why you should absolutely
adore
this
and love
man.
him.
Yes.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah. But first, so many of you reached out over the break, and I just want to give you just a big hug and say thank you. Thank you so much for just reaching out to say happy holidays and to send us little notes like this. Akiyaki said, thank you both for your love of the sport, for the tradition of sumo.
Aww.
Just sweet little notes like that. Henry Jenkins just sent us a note that just said, we love your podcast.
Oh, thanks, Henry Jenkins. That's so sweet.
Yeah, Dave and Terry Decker sent us a wonderful email telling us all about what they do in their family before each Basho begins. And they have this pre-Basho lunch. And they sent us pictures of all this amazing Japanese food that they have before each Basho begins.
That's so
Yeah, just to sort of bring us along and say, this is what we do before each Basho. I love receiving notes like that.
No, I wish I was a party planner because I would do that myself for anyone in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'd be like, let's get together. Let's have a pre-Basho meal. That'd be really fun.
Right?
But I am not organized enough.
Well, Chris sent us an email who actually sent us a really great episode idea for Sumo Chicken. So let me just say first, before I get to this email, if you have an idea for another episode of Sumo Chicken, it's not too late. You can send us your idea. You can just outline an episode, or you can write the whole darn thing. Some of you just written entire episodes and sent them along.
Amazing.
Which is wonderful.
I have not been checking that. So
it's not too late to send us ideas for Sumo Chicken, and it's not too late to send us a jingle, a song,
yeah,
a recording.
Like a little 10-second opening to Sumo Chicken. Now, if you're just tuning in for the first time, Sumo Chicken is a narrative podcast that we start. It's only like 3 to 5 minutes long. And it's about a chicken named Chiri who does sumo and her best friend who is a squirrel named Serenade. And
yeah, listen to our last episode from 2024. It tells you all
Laurie
about
plays Chiri and I play Serenade. And it's a fun, sweet little episode. But we would love for you all to give us your ideas, inspire us, because we love making it. It's in conjunction with a sound studio in New York, and so it sounds so amazing. So you want to get in on this. So give us your ideas.
And what's so wonderful, when y'all send us ideas, sometimes it sparks a whole conversation, an email conversation. And so that's what happened with Chris. And with the back and forth in the email, I discovered that they have been watching sumo for decades.
Oh, wow.
Decades. So, of course, I'm curious and I want to know, okay, what stands out in your mind after, 30 plus years of sumo watching? And I just want to share their response. Chris says, the 3 Hawaiian sumo wrestlers who became the first non-Japanese born yokozunas had not an easy start. And I noticed that when they lost, the cheers against them were louder than any other. But they were absolutely awesome. They had great rivalry against one another. The greatest matches in those days were Akebono versus Takano Hana. Wow, these matches always spectacular. And that's when you were first over there.
I got to see
sumo.
it.
And then they continue. After this era, following the rise of Hakuho and the Mongolian domination of the sport, how Wrecking Ball Asashoryu was out for total destruction. He and Hakuho waged war against one another every match. I really think they absolutely hated each other. always asked myself how Mongolian wrestling looks so much like sumo. Was there a Japanese influence of some sort? Never really found that out. And now, another exciting era with Onosato, for example. Be aware, always with a spectacular new talent winning a Basho, the other wrestlers will study him and weaponize themselves against him, something you already saw at the latest tournament. I thought that was really interesting to know what stands out as a feature of sumo, something you remember after so many years of watching it. And I thought you might enjoy that too.
Yeah. So with that, is it time for a news flash?
A big news flash.
Well, when you have been off the radar for a few weeks, like, there's a lot of news. And I'm sure that some of you have probably heard some of this already, but I'm just going to remind us all that has happened since we've been off the air for the holidays.
If you haven't got your bingo card yet, it's time to get it. The cards have been available longer than usual because I did it a week early.
That's right.
So get your card, get to those links, play bingo with us.
And yeah, there's been a lot of stuff. But here we go. The Tamashoho Cup will be held February 11th with kids from Ukraine and the Noto region where they had a really bad earthquake. And approximately 1,100 boys from age 5 to third year of junior high school are scheduled to participate. So, February is that month where we get all the fun stuff plus the Tamashoho Cup. Mm-hmm. So February is always like, we get the charity thing where they always sing and dance, and it's just the greatest thing.
We get our Valentine's Day episode, which is one of my favorites of the whole year.
I know. I hope y'all, it's just barely 5 weeks away. So I hope y'all are getting your pens ready because we're going to need some poetry. We're going to need some love stories. We're going to need all of that for our favorite episode of the year. The very first thing that happened, I remember when we kind of went off the air, was that we learned that Basho decided to retire due to injury. He's 28 years old. And so, yeah, he rose up to Makuuchi pretty fast, but then he's had right ankle and right knee issues and shoulders during the summer tournament. I mean, he just can't win for losing. So he's losing, like his strength and his thrust, pushes. It's just sad because the Oh No show has been, over the years, sometimes a little bit like, oh no show, but now it's really like, oh no, it's over show.
It was a precipitous drop. It was real fast.
Yeah. And he could not rise up.
Yeah.
But
the story of injury.
One thing we all know about Oh No show, he has beautiful skin. That's
not what I thought you were going to say, but okay.
He has beautiful skin.
I don't think I've noticed that.
His eyebrows are like
not
on point
either.
Or on fleek, as the kids used to say like 7 or 10 years ago. He says himself, I'm telling you this because he had sensitive skin and horse oil helped me. So he is not staying in the JSA.
Helped you personally?
No, him. I was quoting him.
Oh.
And he is going to be selling horse oil, which sounds terrible, but you know what? It's very popular in Asian countries and has a lot of collagen and makes you beautiful. So perhaps that's the reason why he's always had such gorgeous skin.
Interesting that he's not going to stay with the JSA.
Yeah, I don't think
he probably want to be a coach.
Well, he probably couldn't raise the money, when you think he's young. Like Takakeisho could, because Takakeisho probably as an Ozeki had a lot of money, so he could buy the shares that he needed to. And plus, he was kind of, just not to say walked into it, but like he had a clear path. His path was not going to be as difficult. I think Onosho's, path was going to be more difficult. And so
maybe he has a passion for cosmetics.
He does. I mean, he said it helped him because he had sensitive skin. So it helped him and he wants to help people in the same situation. He, at the interview though, about the retirement, he cried, and it was really more about when he was asked about Takakeisho, because since elementary school, these two have had a rivalry. And he talked to Takakeisho, and Takakeisho said, "We did our best, didn't we?" And he expressed like gratitude. he was happy. It's a treasure that he'll think of for the rest of his life. It's been a truly happy sumo career. I wish him really well. You know, he had a great run. And you know what? He has a wife and 3 kids. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know he had 3.
3 kids. I'm like, where is she? So we'll find out on June 1st is when his haircutting is. We'll see all his 3 kids he's been hiding and his adorable wife who's going to, you know, tighten his tie, all that kind of thing. We'll see them June 1st. So
that's great.
Yes.
I wish him all of the luck.
Kyoku Taisei, which you may not remember, but he made his way up to Makuuchi, retired. And I mentioned this because there was a really amazing documentary of his life when he first started sumo. And it was made by a French documentary filmmaker. And it basically follows him upon graduation from high school and him signing up for sumo, which was totally like forced on him by his father. He wanted to do judo or jujitsu or something, but his father was like one of those sumo dads that was like, go into sumo. He lost his mother to cancer like a few years before. So his father was like, go into sumo and don't come back unless you do well. Like one of those kind of tough stories, right? He lived up in Hokkaido. I watched the whole thing because I'd never really seen it. It's a really great documentary. And they just show this young, adorable kid who's like 18 years old and like all that he goes through joining a stable. Some of the guys try to be nice to him and stuff, but you can just tell like he breaks down in practice. He cries, you know, and at the end of the tournament, you see, or not the end of the tournament, the end of the film, he leaves. Right. And so I was surprised to see
home.
It leaves the sumo world.
Sumo.
So I was surprised to watch the documentary and then see that Kyoku Taisei had retired because Kyoku Taisei had made it up to Makuuchi. Now, the documentary does not follow him when he like leaves sumo. He apparently came back and then he did well. He came up into the Makuuchi division. And so, yeah, if you want to see kind of what it's like, it follows this young kid's path and you just have so much compassion for this kid. And he ended up like, there's pictures of him and you're like, oh my God, that's the same guy. Now he's huge and he's big guy and he's got the hair and he's got his kesha mawashi on. And here's the pictures of when he was in Makuuchi and Juryo. And like, he had a career and he's 35 now. So this is an older documentary, but it's just a shout out for this old documentary. We can put the link in our show notes, but just a really sweet kind of thing about just what that is, that kind of time in your life and you're longing for home. You don't have any friends. You're working so hard in the stable. And at the same time, you're learning how to find your way in this world of sumo. He has no regrets. He feels relieved. He made his debut in the Makuuchi division in 2018. He won 10 matches and received the Fighting Spirit Award. And yeah. So
sounds like a good documentary for someone who wants to know really what living in a sumo heya is like and how that could change your life.
And you just fall in love with this kid because he feels all the feels.
How can you watch it?
We'll post a link. Konishiki. This is big news. Konishiki got a new kidney thanks to his wife. Mm-hmm. What a gift of life. Mm-hmm. She went under a 6.5 hour surgery about 6-8 weeks ago, something like that. And so he's been making videos. He's been celebrating. He's been at Musashigawa's stable. And so congratulations. That's amazing because that's a new lease on life. You know, we all adore Konishiki. This also happened to Musashigawa. His wife also I think, donated one of her kidneys to her husband. So here's to kidney donation. Shout out to all of those who give selflessly. If you still want to get a moment with Konishiki, he's heading up some tours for I think the last day, or he's doing dinners, but our friend Angie is doing the tour, the sumo tour guide thing at the Kokugikon, and there's a number of dates that they've listed, and especially the last day, the 26th, you get to go to the Shinshiraku party at, I believe, Musashigawa Stable. So not only would you be able to see sumo all that day from the box, you also get to go to the party, have the full experience, and I know they have a few more seats for that. So we have those links posted somewhere, but you can always reach out and message us. We'll give you that information. All right. Oshoma got married. I don't know anything more than that. other than it's breaking hearts all over the world, but Oshomo got married. Oh, another thing that was really fun to watch, there was the 4 Yokozuna have a little documentary that's on YouTube, and that was really fun. That's Isagahama Oyakata, Harama Fuji, Terunofuji, and Hakuho. And they're all sitting there talking for about 30 minutes about life as a Yokozuna. We'll post the link too, but that was a really fun clip to watch. So check that out. The YDC Soken was held, which is a Keiko Soken, which refers to the special training session that is held before major Tokyo tournaments. And it's where the top Makuuchi wrestlers practice in front of the Yokozuna Deliberation Council. It allows the council to observe kind of the readiness and the competition. Essentially, it's a chance for them to look at everybody's performance, check in, and decide on promotions, retirements related to all that Yokozuna business. And so that has been going strong, and Hoshoryu really looked great. He was 8-1 up against Koto Zakura, who was looking slow and a little sluggish. So Hoshoryu looks like he's coming in hot and ready. There's a lot on the line, and they've been all chatting about it. So
he's not the only one that looked really good.
Yeah, well, Terunofuji is back in the game, and he was giving a little bit of special notice, like special focus to Ono Sato. Ono Sato had about 18 bouts, and he was winning, losing equally. But Terunofuji, maybe he's given everybody else his pointers, but at this point, Terunofuji being back in the ring, he's been, focusing in on Ono Sato, because I think everybody understands that's at least from his point of view, who really has what it takes, which I thought was really interesting.
Do we have any news on whether Terunofuji is going to be present this Basho?
Yes, he is planning on it. He is not perfectly right back up into his weight, but he is wrestling, as he says, as best as he has in a long time, considering, of course, everyone's like, how's the knees? How's the diabetes? And he's like, I still got bad knees. I still got diabetes, but he's working his weight back up. His strength is almost there. And he says it's the best he's felt competing in, he doesn't remember when. So
that's great news.
Yeah. So he also got a lot of praise from Hakaku and the YDC chief, saying that his preparation's looking good. He's progressing nicely back into the fold. His weight isn't quite there, but they kind of worry about his endurance. But he could put pressure on the Ozeki rank, who is, by the way, Koto Zakura and Hoshoryu are both gunning for the Yokozuna role. Koto Zakura won the last tournament, and so he needs to either win again or get a runner-up, and he would want the win. Hoshoryu needs the win. Last time he was like runner-up, now he needs the win to get it, but both of them will be vying for this Yokozuna promotion. And
wouldn't it be exciting if we had another playoff between the two of them in this Basho? Although Terunofuji in the mix, that might shift
That's
things.
what is going to be so interesting, because I think he's there for checks and balances. Yeah. Look, if you can't beat him, then you don't deserve it, right? Yeah. So that's why he's, I think, looking so good, so inspired, is that, well, he's there to put pressure on those guys. You can't have a Yokozuna who can't deliver, and they truly have to be exceptional. Now, Onosho is not... Or not Onosho.
Now, if Onosho was in the mix, that would be exciting.
That would be amazing.
I'm back from retirement.
I know. I almost said Onoshato, which is in the same category as Koto A-hole.
Koto A-hole and Onoshato.
Which, Ono Sato has had a couple of Ono Shato kind of tournaments.
Or Ono Shathole, which would really be bad.
No. That's when he goes up against Koto A-hole. We have that bout is uniquely called Ono Shathole. Anyway, so there's a lot of hubbub with all of this. It is very exciting. And Ono Sato, he beat Terunofuji by one bout. And I don't know if it's Terunofuji's just like, he's just getting everything back online. But that's significant, because it's not like it's just any old Keiko. This is the Keiko Soka. They got a whole audience that's there. And so those people in the audience are the ones who decide Yokozuna or, recommend it. So I think that's interesting. I also think it's very interesting, too, that Hoshoryu looked hot and ready, and the old Japanese YDC committee doesn't really mention them. They kind of, as we all know, favor, Japanese for a Yokozuna position. So,
however, it sounds like they are favoring Terunofuji.
This is true. But Terunofuji gets like a special pass because he's truly like
Yokozuna.
He's truly Yokozuna. He has proved himself in a way that like I don't think Hakuho did. He plays by the rules. He's really, really dignified and like he plays the part well. And I think they all are like, good. You're not challenging us. You stay in your lane. And I think they love him for that. So it's very, very exciting. And
the top of the Banzuke is really exciting with all that going on. And then the two brothers,
who are both in Sanyaku, the Waka brothers.
Yeah, we have a Waka sandwich in Sanyaku that is so very exciting. We got returnees to Sanyaku. Like, there's so much to love. In the meantime, I'm just going to love the Waka sandwich that's up there.
Yeah, me too.
I'm trying to get on board with the return of Abi up there. I will.
I mean, Abi's good. I mean, we are like, he's got his jabby long arms, and we're like, is that the only thing he's got? But he has consistently gotten better, stronger. You can never count that guy out because he loves to mess with the top ranks guy. And he can.
Do we know anything about an injury? Koto Zakura, is he injured, do you think?
No.
From that performance at the...
No, he's just sloppy. I mean, nothing has been mentioned.
He's just a big boy, and he's like, oh, I gotta get up and go.
He said about himself, and some people speculate that this might be the case, he is cautious about him getting injured because he knows the situation. This is a Yokozuna run, right? So some people, including him, have kind of said that his body's not moving as well. He has to get in shape. He says in the coming days, I'll do all in my power to get that promotion. As long as I'm in the world of sumo, I have the chance to take on this challenge, though I can only do what I can. That was translated by Kenta Mayama, something kind of like that. And he really hasn't had his normal sparring partners because they're injured. So he hasn't had the practice like until I think 4 or 5 days ago, Daisho came to visit. And so he has not been able to work out as he's needed to because of injuries in his own heya. So that could be one reason why he's looking a little sluggish at the Keiko Soken, but also he might be smartly in some way being very, very conservative with his body to make sure that when he goes into this tournament, he is in tip-top shape, has no issues with his body.
Nice.
Because this is his grandfather's dream. He is like only child. He is the chosen. And I'm sure he feels immense pressure, not only from the press, but from his father, who is his coach. So I think that's all I know. All the news right now is who's fighting who and how many matches up against everybody. All that to say the guys are in full pre-Basho ritual. They are practicing up, and it is looking to be a very exciting tournament.
Is there anything you would like to highlight about this Banzuke before I take us to the bottom of the Banzuke and tell us about Tamashoho?
No, I mean, I haven't looked at it in a while. I looked at it when it first came out, and then I was like, Christmas, New Year's, COVID, Christmas, COVID, late Christmas. We still haven't had our Christmas, by the way.
Well, the Banzuke came out early, too.
Yeah.
It threw me off.
So
it totally threw me off.
I looked, and I was like, oh, no, wait. One new guy. Okay. And then all my faves are at the top, so I'm like, it looks solid to me. It's the same, most of the same old guys.
Well, Hakuoho is back.
Well, right.
That's pretty exciting.
Right. I think I knew it was just going to be a matter of time,
Yeah. But post-shoulder surgery? That's really, really exciting.
Well, it'll be interesting, too, because still Hakuho's stable is still meshed up with Isagahama. And so... They're so meshed up. But that, I would hope that would help him because, boy, howdy, do you have a crazy pack of guys to work out with and spar with.
Yeah.
And so, the only thing that'll stop him will be if his shoulder continues to get jacked up because he has very, very tiny shoulder holes. That's all I know, which is a technical term, shoulder holes. Right? A socket or shoulder
I think
holes.
let's just call it shoulder holes. according to a doc, he just has very small shoulder holes.
Very small shoulder holes. This is
if that was
diagnosis.
your surgeon, would you get surgery from that guy?
Look, kid, I hate to break it to you, but you got real small shoulder holes. We're going to have
big
surgery
muscles.
here to widen those shoulder holes so your shoulders don't pop out.
Okay, there is one newbie to the top. If you only follow the top division, you have never seen him before. His name is Tamashoho, and he is sitting at Maegashira 16. But I want to say that both he and his coach say that he is so very lucky to be up here in Makuuchi, and they kind of say it amidst lots of laughter. But here he is, after going 10-5 at Juryo 4 in the last Basho, and 2 of those 10 wins came from a foul that somebody else did and a freebie that somebody else dropped out. So he really earned an 8-7 at Juryo 4, but here he is.
Here he is. The slowest in history.
Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about that.
Okay.
Here he is in the top division. He's a tall 6'2" guy, so he's almost one of the taller ones, but he's a slender fella.
He is.
He's tall and slender. Like, he looks almost normal. He's less than 300 pounds out there.
Yeah.
So he looks like
Great
just an
smile.
average dude.
Adorable smile.
Yeah, great smile.
Top 10.
Known universally as a happy guy.
Yes.
And part of the reason people love this man is because he's so darn happy all the time. And I'm going to tell you some of the other reasons that people love this man too. But I just have to describe him first, okay? He's 31. He's tall and slender, very average looking, Mongolian guy, okay? Some guys are 21 and they look 55. He does not look old. He looks like he's younger than 31, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, he looks younger.
He's spry. He's thin, right? And he knows, like, he's lucky as hell to be here. And that, I think, makes him look younger, too. He does hold a record for being the slowest promotion to the top rank of a foreign-born Rikishi.
Okay, so not all time.
No. If you add the Japanese people that took longer, he's 8th oldest to reach the top division.
Okay, well, that's not as bad.
Right. But it has been a long, hard slog for him to get here. It took him 79 tournaments. So if you think, okay, 5 a year, 6 a year?
Well, he started from the bottom.
Yeah. So he started in 2011.
Okay.
That's a long time. From 2015 to 2023, he was in the 3rd division.
Wow.
So imagine like 8 years slogging away. You're not being paid in that 3rd division. Like years.
And being that happy about it.
Right? And you're in your 20s and all your friends are going up, but it's like, oh, God, okay?
He's still making the chanko.
So, yeah, he's...
Actually, I don't think you make chanko at that level.
Well,
it's only the
I'll tell you more about
dudes.
his Heya life, and this will help make sense of him, too, okay? You know, like, Hakuoho looks like this hulking mass of muscle, right? He doesn't look like that, okay? And because he doesn't look like that, he's not super huge, right? I don't think anybody expects him to do super well in this position. I think most people expect him to struggle, okay?
Did you read that article about him?
Most of what I'm going to tell y'all about him comes from an interview that was made in December of last year. And it was on, I think it was Nippon Sports, but it's like the paid version of it. And it got translated for us online. Thank God. The Italian Ozeki translated it for us. It's fabulous.
Yeah, I was talking about what happened this week because he went to the Keiko Soken.
And he got smashed. He got smashed. By Tobi Zaru.
And then like nobody wanted, you know, the winner picks the next one, but he was out there and they were all like,
oh, that's okay.
I'll take a pass.
Yeah.
And then he got smashed and then it was funny. It was really funny knowing who else had a comment about it, which we'll tell you about.
I don't think anybody expects him to like do a tokushoryu from this position. Nobody expects him to like light on fire like Onosato did when he first arrived.
He might get creamed, but it does not matter.
It doesn't matter. Because he looks like an average slender guy out there. Kind of like Ichi Yamamoto when he first arrived. People were like, oh, God.
Right. This is not going to be pretty.
Right. But he says, I train hard. I eat 4 to 5 meals a day. I'm really trying to put on weight. I eat a lot of
high
protein.
Metabolism.
Yeah. He even eats a midnight snack. Like he's trying so hard to gain weight. In the lower divisions, he was more of a belt sumo guy, but since he finally got to Juryo, he's been doing more oshi sumo, so more pushing sumo. And it's been working. Like, he's climbing up the ranks. So he is very much still developing. And I think people's attitude about him will shift depending on really what happens up here. So who is this guy and what will make him easy to remember other than he might get creamed a lot in this top division.
Yeah, but he'll smile about it. He has adorable dimples.
I've not even noticed his dimples, actually.
I think
because
he has
he's got
dimples.
such a big smile.
Maybe it's just a big smile.
His Mongolian name.
Here we go.
Apologies.
For anyone Mongolian listening.
Every time. Erdenbeilig Inkmanlai. Let's just call him Erdenbeilig.
Erdy. Good old
Sounds
Erdy.
like the Swedish chef a little bit.
Erdy.
Sorry. Born in 1993 in Ulaanbaatar.
Okay. City kid.
Yeah, his dad is the Mongolian wrestling and judo coach who at some point taught Asashoryu and Haramafuji, among others. So he comes from a strong wrestling background.
Sounds like he is not made for this, but his dad insisted that he be made for this. He's like, I just rather be playing basketball and hanging out with my friends.
Little Erdenbeilig. He did not take to the sumo right away. He much preferred the basketball and the ice skating. So if he had made different choices, we could have been seeing Erdenbeilig doing quads on the ice skating rink.
Right. I'd be like the very first basketball playing ice skater.
Exactly.
That's how they play basketball in Mongolia.
It's on ice skates.
Ice skates.
But when he got to be about a senior in high school, something changed and he started to like sumo more. And he started to pursue it professionally. He came to Japan in 2011. He was recruited into the Takashima stable, which then closed shortly after he arrived. He went to the Kasugayama stable and then another stable and another stable and so many stables.
Oh.
So many different names.
Because he's the one foreigner, so he can't go to everywhere.
Well, and they closed for a variety of reasons. People retired or there was funny stuff happening at the stable or there's so many reasons, and we don't need to know them all. But he was at 5 different stables, had 6 different masters. And this is a quote from him. He said, I used to think it was a terrible situation, but now I see it positively. I've learned from 6 masters, which is an incredible, rare experience. They've all taught me different lessons, different ways of life, and I feel lucky. Moving between 5 stables is almost unheard of. But looking back, it feels like a miracle.
Wow.
So 4 years ago, he ended up at where he is now, Kataonami stable, which is where Tamawashi is. And since then, everything has changed in this man's life.
Right.
Okay.
He's got a big brother who's Mongolian.
At this stable, there are 4 wrestlers total. 4 of them. One of them is Tamawashi. So there's 2 in the Jonidan divisions, and they're teenagers. So there's 2 teenagers.
So it's just like 2 guys sparring, and then their assistants.
Yeah. So it used to be Tamawashi and 3 assistants.
Wow.
Right? And now it's these 2 teenagers, and then these 2 old guys, this 31-year-old and this 40-year-old. So it's almost like parent-child.
Wow.
Right?
Right.
There's a huge generational gap between them. So it's just interesting. There were these 2 teenagers at this stable, and then there's these 2 older guys, 31 and 40, and Tamawashi is Tamashoho's brother-in-law. Tamawashi married this guy's older sister, Michelle.
Right. Wait, Michelle is a Mongolian name?
Of course, yes. He's Erdenbeilig.
And Michelle.
That is
Michelle. Not right.
There might have been a name change somewhere in there.
clear Google Translate error because I tell you, there's not one Michelle in Mongolian. But correct me if I'm wrong. It's full of Michelles.
And I couldn't really find out how she ended up in Japan, married to
Is it just like a random American girl that ended up there?
No, it is. There are pictures of her online, and they all
Mongolian?
say, they all say she's Mongolian, and she's Tamashoho's older sister. How she met Tamawashi and how that came about. I mean, they've been married like a decade, so I don't really know if Tamawashi and him are friends back in Mongolia. I don't know how that part of it works out, but they probably holiday together.
Pretty simple. They're like, hey, I got
Did you meet my sister?
Sister, you don't get out much.
Although they were married before this guy joined Tamawashi's stable.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe she was the one that said, hey, could you take on my little brother in your stable?
I'm sure Tamawashi had a hand in it, trying to get him there in some way. I'm sure.
I have no idea. But it is interesting that two brothers-in-law are there.
He dotes on him. Not dotes, but he really does treat him like his brother, especially at the
they're family.
Soken.
He best.
Yeah, I mean, he looks out for him like family.
Yeah.
And has been training him up and has got opinions about it and spars with him. And so, Tamawashi's a big part of his life.
Yeah, and a big part of his life and a big influence on his sumo. I think we could definitely say that, at least for the last 4 years.
And Tamawashi's 31, big deal. I'm 9 years old, I'm still going strong.
Exactly.
And Tamawashi did really well at the Soken, 40 years old, and he's crushing bodies left and right.
Exactly.
So he's age is just a number, bro. It's just a number.
Exactly. So Tamawashi's in there going, hey, you're not old. Stick around. Think longevity.
Right.
You could have another decade up here at this top rank. Look at me. I'm 40. I'm not going anywhere. You could have another decade here. So this could be the beginning of a new sumo dynasty, y'all.
It could be.
This is where all the wise men
unlikeliest dynasty ever, but
we could. We could. Okay, so anyway, going back to when this kid arrived at Tamawashi's stable, okay? He did not arrive with the best mental attitude. His new oyakata, would give him pointers, and then this guy, Tamashoho, would say, no, I can't do that. I'm just no good.
oh no.
Yeah, so he had a real negative mindset.
Confidence issues.
He almost quit, came very close to quitting.
Tamawashi probably was like, that ain't going to happen under my watch.
Right. You're my brother-in-law.
This
You're
ain't
not
happening
going
on my
anywhere.
watch.
So he changed his mind, and he has been...
By force.
Yes. And thanks to this new environment and everyone that is there, he continues to improve. His oyakata said the thing that really made me view him differently was watching how he moved during the rice cake pounding ceremony.
Oh, the mochi making?
Yes. He said it was really exceptional how he used his hips and his upper body. He's flexible, and he's just extremely good at being able, to get the top half of the body and the bottom half to work together. And so he thought maybe he could make it to Juryo after watching how this guy pounded the rice cake. Something shifted in his training, and with this oyakata, he just continues to improve.
Meanwhile, he doesn't do shiko. He only does daily pounding, mochi pounding, which is a newer technique. Not often seen in, the stables, but it can be done.
So here's
a teppa pole. Here is your bowl of mochi. Pound away, kiddo.
Go training with Tamawashi, who's just going to go for your throat.
Right.
Each and every day.
Right.
It would take a while to put all that together, I would assume.
Yeah, I would think.
Okay. So I'm going to start sharing a lot of direct quotes from this interview now, just so you got an idea. Tamashoho said, look, when I joined, I was just a kid who didn't know anything. I said, I'll make it to the top, but I really had no idea what that meant. It's been a long time dream and a goal, so I'm very glad to have achieved it. All the makeuchi wrestlers when I was young seemed so strong, so big, and so cool. And they were really scary. I had a strong impression of scary wrestlers being at the top. And the guy who interviewed him said, okay, but it took you 79 tournaments to get there, which is the slowest for a foreign wrestler in post-war history. Just,
just
to
remind you.
And so Tamashoho just laughed and he said, I don't really think about that. Whether it's fast or slow, it doesn't matter. What's important is my staying for a long time after making it to the top, which is great.
Anybody in those low positions, though, like they're the first tournament, unless they're Tokushoryu, they're not going to do well. But there's always a chance. But you assume they're probably going to bump down to Juryo. That's like part of the process. You go up there, you get creamed. You come back down to Juryo, you get your confidence back. Then you dip your toes back up into Makuuchi. You do that a couple of times, and then you find your ground.
I like you're setting the bar low for this guy. I think we're both kind of setting the bar low for
I
this
know.
guy. I think he is setting the bar low for himself. But what I do think is super interesting is what he says has really changed. He was asked, okay, so what's the key to your promotion? And he said, one reason is the teachings of my stable master here at this stable. He always emphasizes the importance of shin, which is the heart. By learning to refine my heart and understand myself, my sumo has changed. My perspective has broadened, not just in sumo, but in life. I have learned to be kind to others and accept my flaws. That's when things started to change.
I like
became
that.
brighter, more optimistic. People see me as cheerful, but I lacked inner strength, and I think that I have gained that now. Believing I'm still young and doing good things brings good things back. Small daily acts of kindness build up and contribute to strength.
I love that.
So in other words, when your mindset changes, your sumo changes.
Which explains why Tamawashi is at 40 years old and still in the ring. He loves it.
Yes.
He's not going anywhere because he loves it and he can still do it.
Yeah.
You focus your brain and you lock in and do the hard work.
I like that.
The results will come.
Just focus on our heart, right? Accept our own flaws. Focus on our heart. Okay, so this was the part in the interview where I really started to fall in love with Tamashoho because it gets better. In this interview, the coach comes in and gives us some coaching insight, which I think is great. He says that Tamashoho really does perform well under pressure, and he just has this great innate sense of sumo. He still needs to work on his forward momentum and his strength. He does need to improve, but he's still performing well under pressure. So then they start to have this conversation in the interview about, okay, so let's just talk about this some more. How are you yielding these good results? And Tamashoho basically said that he analyzes his opponents now. He watches 10 to 20 matches of his opponent the day before because his coach tells him to spot their habits and to analyze whether they're stepping forward with their right foot or their left foot or how they position their hands, right? Mm-hmm. So he watches a whole bunch of tape, kind of just like Hakuho used to.
Right.
And he sleeps on it, and then he goes all in the next day. And as Oyakata says, yes, I tell my wrestlers this regularly. Spot your opponent's habits. It's not just about sumo, it's a life skill. Instead of scolding or being unreasonable with them in daily life, I focus on teaching them to observe. It's a mindset. Once you understand someone's habits, you can take the upper hand.
All right.
Yeah, so we got a little coaching advice there.
Yeah.
Observe, observe, observe. And then his coach talked a little bit about saying, I've become a better coach when I can separate myself from my emotions. In the past, he would say, why can't you do this thing? But he's since learned not to be so emotional about it, just to help his sumo wrestlers set goals. Don't place expectations on them. Just help them set a goal and let them do it if they will or if they won't.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
great. I thought so too. And
let them come to it.
Yeah.
Instead of forcing them.
Yeah. But here is the very best part of the interview. And this is truly why I think
everyone
loves it.
I know. It's the reason I do.
Yeah. And I'm just going to give you this straight quote. Interviewer says, do you have any hobbies like Tamawashi, who is good at crafts? Tamashoho, I make necklaces mostly. And of course, I'm like, what kind of necklaces?
And does he have an Etsy store?
Exactly. Where can we get one? He doesn't answer that, though. And he goes on, and I have guinea pigs. I love animals.
Do you know their names?
Yes, I'm getting there.
Okay.
Interviewer, are they a source of comfort?
Yes.
Tamashoho, yes.
Oh my gosh.
Interviewer, when did you start keeping them? Tamashoho, since August. I have 2 of them. They're adorable. Interviewer, what are the names of your guinea pigs? Tamashoho, Hamo-chan and Kamo-chan. I thought adding chan made them cuter. Interviewer, what is the origin of their names? Tamashoho, everyone called them hamsters, even though they're guinea pigs. So I leaned into it and named one Ham, and one Kam, or Kamo-chan. Kamo-chan really got his name because he makes a kamo-kamo sound while eating. So Ham for hamsters, and Cam or Kamu because of the kamo sound it makes when he eats. And just to give you more reasons to love him, his hobbies are watching anime, reading manga. He absolutely loves One Piece, y'all, and handicrafts. He is also a cosplayer. However, he does not dress up, but he loves to eat Mongolian dumplings, chocolate, and meat.
Yeah. Do you know the
How
cutest?
Can you not love this man?
I know. Well, the most adorable thing was when it was announced that he got into Makuuchi. Do you know what he did? He went home where he lives by himself, grabbed his guinea pigs, brought them back to the press area, and held them up like Rocky.
Yes.
Like I have made it when he had like one little guinea pig in one hand and one up in the other, and he had the biggest smile on his face. And then he returned to his room to pose like with the guinea pigs. And I was like, you know what? I would do that. I would, if something great happened to me, I might go home and get Maggie, and then it would be me and a little black pug posing for all exciting photos.
Yeah.
The cutest. I've made it into Makuuchi photo that ever existed.
Yes.
He kissed them as well.
Yes.
And it was just like...
So he's just your average 31-year-old man who
loves
has
handicrafts.
Devoted his life to sumo.
Maybe that's what
and
Tamawashi and Tamashoho are going to do in retirement one day, is open up their own handicraft shop / bakery and
selling cakes. And there's guinea pigs.
It's a guinea pig cafe.
Guinea pig cafe. Yes. Yes. And you get a discount if you come in a cosplay outfit.
Right. And then... yeah, or it's like a tea house where you can get like sumo tickets.
Oh my God, I would go there every day.
It's all sumo bakery items or sumo necklaces.
I would go there every day. Yeah.
Well,
how can you not love this man? How can you not love it? And this is exactly the kind of sumo content I need to, 1, remember who he is, and
this
2,
guy I
be
won't
his
forget.
biggest fan.
I won't forget this guy. Some of the other guys, I'm like, I don't know. He looks like everybody else. I can't figure out. He's just another round guy. He doesn't have much personality. This guy, I'm going to watch him.
Even if he never wins, I will
care.
be cheering for him.
He tried.
Every time.
He tried, and that's all that matters.
So there you go. Everything you needed to know about Tamashoho, a little bit of news about the rest of the Bansuke, and we cannot wait for it to begin on Sunday. And I guess we'll see you next week.
That's right. All right, until then, I'm Leslie.
I'm Laurie. Bye.
Bye.